see some incredible pilots, some incredible industry panels.
SeriesFest is the premier place to be.
It's really important in every industry to have community. This is where it begins here at SeriesFest.
I think Hollywood is changing, but not fast enough. We need the gatekeepers to open the door, and SeriesFest, they're blasting the doors open.
All eyes focused on the Mile High City this weekend, an ambitious and exciting new festival called SeriesFest.
An international television pilot festival.
Uniting artists, television executives, and producers to find the next big hit.
Finally, there's an independent avenue for people who want to just go into the TV business.
I'm Gemma Chan. It's such a great idea to have a festival dedicated to TV like this.
First, we're going to kick it off with our third annual Pitch-a-thon.
I love that you have pitch sessions here because that is the one thing they don't teach you in film school, they don't teach you in college, and it turns out to be probably the most important function of creating a show and getting it on the air.
One of the reasons why we're here is to remind the filmmakers that are here that they have an impact, that they make a difference.
I'm going to learn probably more than anybody else. So it's great to be here at SeriesFest.
SeriesFest, what up?
Thank you so much. It says Steve Carell on it, but we can build a marketplace here, a place like SeriesFest, the way that Sundance did in the early 90s with independent film.
I'm excited to be here as an artist performing tonight at the kickoff of SeriesFest. I'm on the way up.
I'm on the way up. This is the best audience to come out to in the entire world.
Everybody, collective breath. I know that was tense. Wow. All right. I know we are so excited to have the wonderful Patrick Macmanus be joining us shortly for a conversation. But first, please give a round of applause to our fantastic moderator for today, Mr. Jeff Conway, senior contributor from Forbes, who's been with us all week and is an absolute amazing friend to SeriesFest. Big hugs, Jeff.
I love you.
I love you too.
Thanks for having me.
This is going to be fun.
This is my fourth panel this week. It's my last one, and I'm so excited for this one. Thank you. How good was that, by the way? Chilling and brilliant. We'll talk about that in a moment, but I want to bring up the man behind this amazing new series that will be coming to Peacock ahead, Patrick Macmanus, the showrunner, executive producer.
We'll have to. That'll be the first question.
So he had a different outfit earlier. I'm bringing this up.
Yeah, no, I was going to bring it up otherwise. No, by the way, I know that none of you actually give a shit, but I genuinely apologize. I was wearing a full suit before, and I bent down on the red carpet and tore the entire back of my pants from the back of my calf all the way to,
So do you wear underwear or do you not wear underwear?
I do wear underwear. I do wear underwear.
That would make a difference.
It's actually, it's Worry underwear. It's the same as the pants now. I'm so anyways, I was joking that I'm gonna have to work out more, for sure. I gotta do more squats or something.
So the first thing I want to say, even before we talk about this excellent new series that I cannot wait to see more of, and I know the rest of you cannot wait to see more of, we hear the word showrunner a lot. I feel like, but sometimes it's just, it's there and we don't know exactly what it means. Can you explain for your responsibilities, what was showrunner for you when it came to Devil in Disguise?
So for this, I was hired to create the show by UCP and Peacock, and we'll get into this. I turned it down twice. On the third time, I said yes. We'll talk about that. But basically, I went off. I wrote the pilot. I wrote episode 2, which I then thankfully I unwrote. But they had me write 2 episodes just to sort of get the order and a pitch, and we pitched it out. And then I ran the writers' room with all of my favorite people in the world, people I've worked with on the last 4 shows. Due to the contraction and post-strike, it's the first time that all of the writers that I love and could all be in the same room. It was 100% my writers, which has never happened before. So it was the most amazing writer's room experience. Like a quick story on that is that we'd left the room for the day, and the writer's assistant was doing the notes. And there's another show that's coming out soon called Copenhagen that was in basically the same cycle as us, and they were in the same writer's room space in the same building area. And their writer's assistant came down to introduce themselves to Amber and said, "What are you guys working on?" And she said this. And I guess they were slack-jawed and said, "Oh, we thought you were doing a half-hour comedy." Because these are like genuinely, like they're my loves. Like these writers I've been with them for a long time. So we wrote it. And then Ashley Michael Hoban, who
you worked on with Dr. Death.
She started as my assistant 12 years ago, and she is now an executive producer and a showrunner on her own, and now first-time director. She directed episode 2 as well, which was well deserved. So Hoban and I and Madhu Garba, who is another executive producer we've worked with for the last like almost 10 years or so, we went up and we produced it, and we cast it, and we put all the directors together, and we hired our production designer and all the things that you do to try to get a show off the ground. And then, as I always say, the cardinal rule of being a decent showrunner is to just get the hell out of the way. And so I just got the hell out of the way, and I stayed there, and we fought a lot of dark days, because not both figuratively and because the sun went down very quickly. A lot of cold days, but it was well worth it. Yeah.
But Patrick, you're no stranger to true crime series. You had The Girl from Plainville that's on Hulu right now. Mm-hmm. Yes. You have 2 seasons of Dr. Death on Peacock already. Yeah. And now we have Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy. So when it came to this one with John Wayne Gacy, obviously a lot of us know the story enough. We've heard about it. I'm originally from Chicago, so when they said words like Des Plaines up there, I know exactly what they're talking about. It's a suburb right outside of Chicago. So I really appreciate the story. I had parents that grew up during the time that these young men were these victims, these 33-plus victims of John Wayne Gacy ultimately. How did you approach the facts and the research to make sure it sticks to the truth and doesn't get glorified in ways that sometimes Hollywood can do to these true crimes?
Well, it's 2 sort of separate things, and it goes to what I was just saying before, which is why I turned it down 2 times. At the time that this sort of crossed my desk, Dahmer was at its peak, and I in absolutely no way, shape, or form have anything but a great deal of respect for Ryan Murphy. And that pilot was one of the most tense, disturbing pilots that I've ever seen in my life. But I had said to the studio and to the network that I don't want to do it. And it wasn't that I didn't want to like follow up Ryan Murphy. It was that I just don't see any reason to do it. To some of what you were saying, that everybody knows this guy or version of it, or they could Wikipedia it and figure it all out. And so when they came back to me the 3rd time, I said, "Okay, I'll do it, but I'm telling you, I'm never going to show a murder. I'm never going to show any of the violence. I'm never going to show any of the rape, any of the torture. And I really do want to figure out a way to actually make good on what people say they want to do, myself included, by the way. Like, I've been guilty of it as well, where I said I want to focus on the victims and the families and the cops and the lawyers. And they said, okay, and I thought they were shining me on. I genuinely did. I thought they were just like, okay, just get him to say yes, and then get him too far deep, and then he can't do anything. And I will tell you that Peacock and UCP has never broken that promise. And this pilot was sort of built sort of to hook the true crime audience. And it was built absolutely in many ways as sort of a Trojan horse. And I talk about it all the time. Like I made it this way on purpose, because episode 2 is really where the show takes off. And that is where we created this idea of these short stories in which we could only take 6 of the 33 victims. We only had 8 episodes. But we implanted these short stories into episodes 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7 and 8. And they are the stories of these victims that have absolutely nothing to do with their kidnapping, torture, murder, no John Wayne Gacy. They're just snapshots of their lives that are just sort of dropped. There's no thematic tie-in. There's no like push in on a present day character's face and come in because it somehow ties story-wise to the victim. They're just plopped in, and if you ripped them out and threw them out, then it would just be a sort of true crime story. But these short stories are really good. The writers just killed it, and they're heartbreaking, and they're tragic, and they're judgmental in some ways, and they're hopeful in many ways, but they're just these people's lives before they were snuffed out. And so, when we talked about this a little bit before, like I don't know if it's going to work. I have said it from the beginning that it's a little bit of a test, because. I'm not saying my show's good. I'm not saying that. You have to have a good show, and you also have to promote it well and all those things. But I am genuinely a little worried, right? That that there is no traditional horror. It's like the opposite of Dahmer, and I don't know if it's going to work or not. I can tell you I think it's really well done, but I don't know if it's going to work.
Well, I'm going to say from the episode I've been able to see, number one, and you all, this is good. So I know you're very humble in that way, but facts are facts. This is very, very good. But can you talk to me about, you also have your Littleton Road Productions company.
Yep.
You're working with Universal Content Productions, UCP, Peacock. You know, for people out here that want to work with companies like that, like the Peacocks of the world, you know, these video streaming giants, you know, what is it about the relationship that you've built and the time that's taken to build it, but also for them to back your creative direction, because they could try to tell you maybe do it more with respect to Ryan Murphy's way. Do it Ryan Murphy's way. It works that way. But this is a risk, but I think it's going to be a risk that pays off. But can you share that with me?
Look, I mean, I've been with UCP now since 2016, I guess. And this is going to sound sycophantic. It's just I'm just telling an objective truth. They have always supported me, and I'm not easy to support all the time. Like, but they this was not unusual. I like jokes say I thought they were just going to pull there's like Lucy with the football. They're going to pull the football and make it Ryan Murphy-esque. But the truth of the matter is that I don't know why I sort of suspected that, because they really have always backed me, and Peacock really jumped into the pool on this one. Like they're the ones who really, I mean, they're the ones putting it out there, right? So I don't know really how to answer it other than to say that I think that over the past 9 years, give or take or so, that we've known each other, or this group, it's 6 years because it sort of was a change of regimes, but that I think that they know that I'm like really trying to put my best foot forward and I'm trying to do something different, and while still living in the pocket of something that they can execute on and promote, and it's ultimately a trust fall. Every show is a trust fall, and they have always treated me exceptionally well. So I guess I don't know exactly how to answer it other than to say that we eat together from time to time, and we drink together from time to time, and I like them. You'd have to ask them if they like me, but we have personal relationships, and I think that goes a little bit of a long way to just saying, look, I need you to grasp hands and jump with me, and that's what they did. So we'll see.
Patrick, being a creative and a storyteller, you know, you hold your ground too. You know, people out here, they love their direction, and sometimes they know that it's good, so you got to hold your ground. But where is that kind of in between where, yes, I'm going to hold my ground, but I also know that I'm working with a quote-unquote big brother, and I have to maybe sometimes, I don't want to use the word compromise, but compromise?
It's a very easy answer. I have a thing that I have said for years, and that I try to impart on younger writers who are specifically in the writers' rooms with me, because you hear so often that it's us versus them. I mean, that's like, goes back to the very beginning of my career in 2004. It's like writers opposite executives, right? And I bought into that for a hot second. And then my mentor taught me something that was the most useful thing, not only for your profession, but I think it's why my marriage works. Is that if everything is important, then nothing is important, and eventually you become the person crying wolf. And so what they know is that if they give me notes, I'm going to probably take 75-80% of them. But when I hold my ground, to use your phrase, they know. Like they know it's important to me because when I dig in, and I'll tell you, like when I dig in, they give it to me because they know, like if I'm really saying it, then this has to be important. So I think that it's very hard. Look, I say all the time, I said it except for the beginning of my career when I was a total asshole, but like I am not an auteur and I am not a genius. I am as I've said, and you and I have talked about this before, I am just dumb enough to like get this right. And what I mean by that is that if you can admit that you don't know things, and then you can surround yourself with people who do know things, then it makes this job very easy. And so I just sort of, I know that I can't always be right. And my advice to any artist is, I promise you, you're not. You're just not. And the thing that I say to these, I don't know why these writers keep working with me, because I'm now getting old and tired, meaning my stories are tired. But like I say, like, look, if you really want to be an artist, like a true artist who is your way or the highway, then go move to a cabin in the woods, because you shouldn't be in Hollywood, because it is the cross section of commercial and art. And if you want to have a long-standing career, you unless you're a genius, which I'm not, and I can only name, which I will not name, 2 people that I know that I think are real geniuses. The rest all think they're geniuses. Then, just take the notes. Not all of them, just take enough of them that it's a partnership, it's a collaboration.
Can you talk to me about the title? Obviously, John Wayne Gacy's part of the title, but Devil in Disguise, because that's actually my favorite Elvis song. But I'm assuming that's not why you
I didn't choose it. It's a documentary. It's a documentary in Peacock that is, by the way, if you haven't seen it, I'm not trying to be like, a used car salesman here. It's really good.
And you can watch it right now on Peacock.
Yeah, it's so Hoban was running Death 2, and I was living overseas for a year, and I flew into New York to take her out to dinner to thank her for her being on set and me not being on set. I got there early. I flew into JFK from Paris, and I went to my hotel room, and they'd sent me the documentary, and I watched all 7 hours. I can't remember how many it is, in one sitting, and it was the most horrible afternoon in a hotel room that has ever happened. But what is really to like jump off the question a little bit, what is fascinating, and myself included, and all of my writers and all of the actors and anyone who touched this project in any way, shape, or form is like, stop it. Gacy was not like that. And Gacy was exactly like this. And all you have to do is watch the documentary and see him in action behind bars, and you see who this guy really is. And every piece of research, you asked about research, I have the same Patrick Murphy, the same researcher on all of my shows. He does the first initial deep dive for me and makes my life really easy. Every single anecdote about Gacy was that he was just this sort of goofy, affable, lovable guy that was a little bit weird, but like totally someone that you would want to hang out with. And he was heavily involved in the community. And Chernus, by the way, Chernus genuinely says hello. Michael Chernus, who played Gacy, he was supposed to be here. However, he's also on Severance, and he's in LA doing Severance stuff. Yes. Fuck that guy.
But what a performance by Michael Chernus up here as John Wayne Gacy. So can you talk to me about the casting process, specifically for Michael, because this is a character and a persona that you have to get right.
Big time. So another like feather in the cap of the studio and the network was that I said to them, I don't think we should cast big name people, which typically is an immediate. If Tom Cruise will play Gacy, we're going to get Tom Cruise, okay? And casting gave me all the rope that I could ever possibly need. And we did meet with a whole lot of people that are names for Gacy. But Chernus came in. It was a Zoom audition, and then we did a callback. I flew to New York to do a callback, and it was just done. I mean, it was done on his Zoom. He fully disappeared into this character, and I didn't have to give him a note, and I don't know how much research he did. I don't think he did very much at that time. I think he was just reading pages. But like that clown speech that he gives to Albrecht and Fanholm, that was his audition piece.
It's chilling.
Yeah, that was what he did in the audition. He didn't change a goddamn. Now, if he were here, he would defend it and say, I did a lot of work. Him, meaning him. He did a lot of work, and he changed it. But, like, that was his cold read in the audition. And, yeah, he's unbelievable.
Yes.
He's unbelievable and awesome human being, too.
So, but when it came to the research of things like with no eyewitness accounts and such, how do you, as a showrunner and executive producer and a collaborator, fill those parts of the story that you have to tell where we don't have 100% of the facts? How do you make sure that within the creative freedom, we feel like this is probably how it went down, if any parts?
No, there's a lot. I mean, look, again, going back to Podrick, our researcher, look, beyond all of the court documents, all of the interviews with relatives that were done in the past, right? We had thousands of pages of research, and Podrick flew to Chicago and went into the archives. Actually, got all of the boxes of Gacy evidence, everything that was there, up to and including. He sent me a snapshot of him holding Kim Byers' photo ticket that was in one of the boxes, like buried. It was like Raiders of the Lost Ark, like just buried in the bottom of this box. And so everything that we do as writers on these true crime pieces begins with the real words. Like, we do everything in our power to be as close as possible to someone's interview or someone's deposition or someone's, on the stand, or Gacy's own words, right? Because they've recorded things that he said. I mean, look, him talking about the fact that a clown could get away with murder is a true story. He said that to the cops, right? And we know that from the research. So there's obviously stuff that we do not know. I mean, like the dinner scene between the Peasts, that's all fictional, and that's just coming from a place of I'm a father of two boys, and I can imagine what that's like, right? So, but when we get into the short stories in episodes 2 and beyond, right? That's all taken from research of these young men's lives, and while the words are fictionalized, the circumstances are not. So we're really bringing to life things that people have said about these boys and their lives. And so we try to hew as close to the truth as possible. Reddit is going to light up on something that we did wrong. It's for sure. It's always the case. But we try to be as true as possible because we don't want to be dinged for sensationalizing something, right? Yes. And so we really try to build it off of all of the research.
Yes, but for the storytellers out here, when it comes to The Girl from Plainville, Dr. Death, both seasons, and this show right here, Devil in Disguise, how do you make sure that you are not pushing the boundaries too far in certain ways, and not, again, going back to what you said, not letting the violence become part of the entertainment, but allowing the actual human interest, the stories of these people that usually we live in a world right now, we live in the world of school shootings and everything like this, where sometimes the perpetrator, the suspect, is the one that gets the attention. You're actually giving time to the people that we lost, the victims. Why is that so important to you?
I think that, look, the truthful answer to that is partly that I want to do things differently, right? Like, if you're going to do this, why are you going to copy other people, right? So part of it's ego, and we'll put that aside, right? Which is I just want to try every time I do a show to do something different. But the other side is that I, and I mean this, it's going to sound like bullshit, but again, like having 2 sons, and being around their friends, or, in the case of Girl from Plainville, having very close relatives who have mental health concerns, right? I kind of just want to know, like, if somebody is going to make this about my ex, right, whoever that is, how do I want that story to be told? And I think that if you... I don't judge religion. I swear I'm not a religious person. But I have always said that the easiest way of being in life is to just abide by the golden rule, which is to treat others the way that you want to be treated. And that goes without religion, right? And so for me and for our writers and our actors on all these shows, we always say to ourselves, like, would we be offended by this? Would we be hurt by this? The short answer is probably regardless, right? I don't think that anybody is desperate to have these stories relitigated for all the time, right? But I will say that something that made me very proud about The Girl from Plainville, for instance, was that no matter what you thought of the show, everyone came back saying, and people that were part of it said, like, we handled it delicately, we handled it without being salacious, and that's a badge of honor, right? And so I hope, you know, we did reach out to the victims' families, either via email or letter or phone calls, letting them all know that this was coming. I said in my letters to them, I would love for you to contact me, and if you want to, say that you throw your support behind it, great. If you want to yell at me, great. Like, but I want to make sure that I'm opening myself up so that you can contact me and tell me what you're feeling. And we touched base with a handful of the victims' families, and I'm genuinely, like, they said, sort of go with it. So I hope at the end of the day we don't let them down.
Absolutely. Well, I don't think you're going to let them down because this was a great episode. Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy. I know there is not a Peacock date yet.
There's not.
Please start telling your friends if you like this. I think this is great. I cannot wait to see this on Peacock. Congratulations. Please give it up for Patrick Macmanus, everyone. And continue to enjoy SeriesFest Season 11. Thanks for coming out, everyone.
Thank you, everybody, very much.